I'm so glad I don't have the job that some of these fucking listeners have, these physically...
Like real job.
Yeah,
well, maybe
like,
you'd be tired then at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Fall asleep.
Yeah, nothing worse than those real jobs for getting your ass tired. I was thinking of that yesterday, air conditioning and heating working, because it's so hot. And these were the days where everybody would be like, call the air conditioning company. We need air conditioning. It's hot. Like, no one in the middle of winter goes, hey, let's get some air conditioning. And then you're in an attic that isn't fucking blazing hot.
Oh, this is so nice.
Yeah. So it was always like just humping shit up into this hot insulation, dust-filled attic.
You had some hot work days?
Oh, it was blazing hot.
I don't know how people do that.
It was a real job. And then everybody wants the grills that are on the ceiling. When you put in an air conditioning system, like after the house is built and it's been there for years, like you gotta put the air conditioning grills in the ceiling and stuff. And they always want them very close to the walls. You don't want one in the middle of your ceiling. You know, you want it kind of hidden against the wall, over a window, in a corner, something like that. And it sounds all well and fine until you realize up in the attic where they want it is where the roof thing is. So there's like this angle of the roof, and you only have like 4 inches to work with, and there's roofing nails poking through, so it hits you in the head.
But it's cool up there, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a good 20 degrees cooler than the outside air.
Imagine getting poked with hot roofing needles.
That's what it was.
While you were
roofing
trying
nails
to work.
in the head, blazing hot, trying to saw a hole in the ceiling from the attic down into the ceiling.
Now, wait a minute. Would you ever have... Oh, would the dust just go on the floor down there or no?
Yeah, you'd have to, like, put down drop cloths so the dust would be caught. And then you'd have a homeowner constantly bitching, like, are you going to get that? Like, clean it up. No, I'm just going to leave it all over. At the end, you got to clean up and fucking vacuum.
Wait a minute. So you would install central air conditioning?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't do all that shit.
Yeah, it was central air conditioning. You'd go in and cut a big hole for the big 24 by 24 return, and then you'd have to hump all the equipment up through there. Like the giant blower units have to get into the attic.
You did it by yourself?
No. I'd have like at least 2 other people with me.
Was it ever awkward positioning and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
With the attic crowded with shit?
Plenty of times where, fucking ass in your face and you're just laying down on your back in insulation. Hot and sweaty, it's sticking to you. And then you try to wear the mask so you don't have to breathe it in, but you're sweating so bad that you wind up being waterboarded with your own sweat because it's like fucking the mask gets soaked.
Did your bag and ass ever get fucking sopping wet?
Terribly. Terrible sweating and just... It was an awful job.
Long days.
Yeah, it was an awful... Like, yeah, you have to... It'd be like... Yeah, it's a one day, in and out. You got to, when you show up in the morning, when you leave, they better be able to turn on air conditioning and be done. So you couldn't just be like, I'll finish tomorrow. So you had to get it done. I couldn't dilly-dally like I do on some of those other jobs.
Were there any times where you just couldn't get it done?
Very rare, but yeah, there was something would go wrong, or yeah.
So what do? You have a bear house.
Yeah.
And because I'm so unfucking mechanical, I feel like these things just magically happen. I feel like magic men do it. Literally, I couldn't be more impressed if you said I just clap my hands and then they hit a switch. It's amazing to me that you can do that. You and some guys hump this up. The first thing you got to do when you get there is go up in the attic and look and make sure you have a pathway to get this.
Right. You look in the attic.
Thing?
It's the blower unit itself probably weighs about 80 pounds, I guess. Okay. And then the compressor unit's really heavy.
What's the difference?
But that's the one that goes outside. That's the little fan unit that goes outside on your side of your house. And then the other unit is the one that goes in your attic, and that's the one that blows all the cold air through big ductwork, and then it branches off into smaller ones, and into smaller ones, and then goes to each grill.
So the heaviest thing is the outside unit.
Yeah, but that's outside.
How
so
do you connect that to the inside unit in the attic?
Yeah, that's a bitch. You got to fucking take copper tubing that you got to slide insulation on. There's 2 lines, one little one and one bigger one, and then you got to tape it together, and then you got to snake it through a hole that you drilled, get it up through the wall. It's such a pain in the ass.
But how do you have 2 guys doing it?
Yeah, and then one guy's got to go, give it some push. All right, hold up. And then you're twisting and yelling, and It's such a pain in the ass.
Is that the worst part of the job?
No, everything's the worst part. No, the worst part is dealing with like insulation, flex ductwork, which is like this accordion-like tubing that's covered with insulation, and it's you got to cut it to length, and it's shards of glass that are coming out at you and going into your skin, the insulation. It's terrible.
So you cut so the first thing you do is you get up there and you put this thing in the attic.
You put all the shit up in the attic. You got to get all your shit up there.
Okay.
All the equipment up there. And then you find out where the best place to put it, to put the blower unit. And then you got to put all the stuff that goes with it. The condensation pan. Because, sometimes these units leak. And you don't want it leaking through the ceiling. So it sits on a giant pan with a hole in it, and the tube comes out of there and runs outside your house. So if it starts leaking, it won't leak.
What if it's an unfinished attic? Meaning, like, what if there's we had some boards laid down to crawl on?
They're all unfinished.
So, I mean, like, you have to crawl over these wood slats?
You're torturing yourself, but your knees are on the 2x6 beams up in the attic, the joists. So you're kneeling on them. And they're digging into your kneecaps.
And you got to drag this thing across
and you're
the top.
dragging it without stepping through the fucking ceiling.
Oh, my God.
We had a couple of helpers. It happened like 3 or 4 times in my career. That fell right through the ceiling. The homeowner's like sitting there, and this fat dummy falls right through into the living room. It was classic.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, the homeowner's like freaking. We're like, don't worry, we got a carpenter that come in and they'll take care of everything. And they have to, cut the big chunk that's busted up, put a new piece of sheetrock up. Sometimes it works out good. We actually had a homeowner that wanted 2 returns put in that were really small, and they you couldn't really get the equipment up easily through it. So we made like the guy fell through the ceiling just so we could cut a big chunk out and get the equipment up through it. It's like, don't worry, we'll fix it.
Did you fix it or someone else did?
The air conditioning company has like a carpenter on call, so they're like, hey, yeah, go over there and fix their fucking ceiling.
So once you get this thing up there, all the equipment's upstairs, do you then connect the copper tubing? Then you do the snake thing to connect the outside to the inside?
Yeah, the outside to the inside's got to be connected.
How do you make the air go to rooms?
Well, no, that's just for the refrigerant. So the refrigerant goes through the outside one, and it compresses it down, and it gets really cold and shit, and then it ships it up into the unit, and then it goes through a thing and cools the air.
Right.
Then to get it into the rooms, that's a whole different thing. That's the ductwork that goes on the front of the unit, the blower, and then you got to cut holes in the ductworks and branch out to each room.
So wait a minute.
It's a pain in the ass.
So okay. So there's like a giant, say, silver-colored piece of fucking metal that stays in the attic.
Yep.
It stays up there with a bunch of like octopus tentacles.
Yes,
over
octopus
different
tentacles
okay.
that run to the different rooms, and that attaches to the little box that's in the attic, and then on the underside and the ceiling of the room goes one of those grills that you see right there. And there.
Okay.
And the cold air blows out. Like magic.
It's like a giant pecker with a bunch of spaghettis on it.
Or that.
That's how they do that. I thought you literally had to go down into each wall. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Sometimes you do. Some homeowners want it in the walls, and that's a much more
as opposed to where?
As opposed to in the ceiling. They want it on the wall. So you got to find, in between the beams and cut out a piece of the wall and put this oval kind of duct in there, and it's not fun work.
How long would it take you to do an average house?
A full day.
Okay, 8 hours.
Probably, over 8, maybe 10 hours.
Wow.
10 hours, yeah. It's real work. It sucked. I never wanted to do it. I always wanted to get out of it somehow and figure out a way to get out of doing that for the rest of my life.
So so the air works that night, or does it take a day or two to get going, or does it just work?
No, it worked. You flip this, hopefully, you flip the switch on the thermostat, and cold air comes out, and you go, ooh, yay, it works.
Did you ever have it where you did that and nothing happened?
Yeah.
How disappointed were they? Can you think of a worse thing than guys in your house all day?
All day.
And when you want that cool air, just
get ready, here it comes.
The unit's no good.
Click, nothing.
Oh, your mother's cunt.
Then you got to start troubleshooting.
Would you do it right there or the next day?
Yeah. I was mostly installation, so that was left to the other guy that would usually do the refrigerant and electronics, the thermostat and stuff. But if it was a mechanical problem, like, air is blowing out into the attic through a hole in the duct that wasn't taken care of, then I'd have to get up there. But for the most part...
What do you mean a hole in the duct that you didn't take care of?
Like, one of the helpers didn't screw something in, and one of the things blew off the duct, and something like that. But if it was an electrical problem or something like that, the electrician would deal with it.
So, but you're the one that brought that tubing. You brought the duct tubing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nothing worse, though, than turning it on, though, and nothing. Yeah. Like, oh, boy. The homeowner's sitting there getting all ready. He's got a glass of iced tea. He's just looking at the thermostat, looking at you.
And all he wants to know is, can you fix this now?
Now.
I'll tolerate it, but can you do it now? So you put that little unit in the wall. I don't know why I thought houses were just built with little units.
The thermostat, yeah. You put the thermostat in the wall.
Then how do you get the fucking wires up to the machine?
Yeah, you got to drill a hole in the plate up in the attic, and then you snake the wire down, and then you drill a hole where you want the thermostat, and then you put a little wire in there and grab the wire and pull it through the hole. Then you attach it to the thermostat and screw it to the wall.
Was that what's the best part where you knew, like, we're home free?
That was pretty good, the thermostat part.
Wouldn't you test it before you put it in the wall?
No. No, you just fucking hook it up, let it rip. But, yeah, it was that part. Yeah, when you started knowing, you're cleaning up, it was pretty good.
Guys falling through the ceiling makes me laugh.
The guy falling through the ceiling. And it was great if you would see it happen, because you'd be downstairs, and you'd hear like this, boom, boom, and then you'd just see one leg, boom, like a leg would be sticking out of the ceiling of the living room. Just a fucking leg.
Did anyone ever fall all the way through or no?
Yeah, we've had people fall completely through. It's almost harder, though, to fall all the way through, because the joists aren't very, close together. Or far apart.
Yeah.
They're pretty close together, so it's not that
They
bad.
would always catch themselves or something,
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking funny, man. Can you do that for a living?
It's
No
hilarious.
way. No. I mean, I couldn't be. I was a stock boy at a furniture store, so I had to unload a truck for a while. Yeah. And even that, like one summer, and it was enough.
Yeah, it's just...
And that was, I was in a big garage, and I was unloading stuff. I was lifting stuff, but it wasn't being cramped up in an attic. We were watching guys roofing last weekend at some shopping center.
Yeah.
And it was 100 degrees outside, and they were putting down the roof slates and up on top of the. I was like, oh, that's got to be horrible.
We did that too, where it was in commercial jobs, like big buildings, commercial work. You'd be on the rooftop, and you'd have to cut a giant hole, 6 foot by 6 foot hole in the roof.
Would you ever get thirsty?
Oh, it's always thirsty.
You just wanted a glass of water.
Have we ever in one of those hot attics, and you had to take, and I drank too much last night shit?
Every night or every day I'd be in there. Every day.
You have to shit.
Oh.
Would you pass gas
and
up
the
there?
homeowner doesn't want you shitting in their fucking... They don't want you drinking out of their fucking glasses or anything.
They didn't want you
shitting in their toilet. You are the scourge of society. Hence the spackle bucket. You'd have to shit in a spackle bucket like an animal.
Where?
Sometimes in your work van.
You'd go in the van and shit in the bucket?
In the back of the work van and just shit in a spackle bucket.
But not in their attic.
No.
Why wouldn't you just tell them I got to use your restroom?
Yeah.
The company did not want you using their restrooms.
No, they would piss either?
They'd prefer...
To piss, yeah.
But the company wanted you to, like animals, go into the back of the van and shit in a spackle bucket?
Yeah, I'd have to throw all the tools and equipment to one side so there'd be enough room to pop the spackle bucket in, shut the van doors, and just reek out the van.
Would there be toilet paper in the van?
Yeah, you'd usually keep
Would
some
everyone shit in the same bucket?
No, you'd get your own personal bucket.
I don't know why our air conditioning's not done yet. He's been in the van for 20 minutes.
Yeah, what's he doing in there?
Would it stink in the van?
Oh,
then you'd have to drive home?
horrible.
Would you have to tell your coworkers, I'm going to drop a deuce in the van?
Well, you wouldn't drop one right before you left. And you'd open the doors up and let it air out, but still, it's
Where would
just...
you leave the bucket until you went home?
Well, you'd have to seal the bucket up and leave it, either outside the van.
So now would one guy take all 3 buckets off, or would you each carry your own shit bucket, like your little A on a bucket of duty?
You would just have the buckets in the truck, and then you'd throw them away. Spacker buckets are a dime a dozen.
Walking by in these neighborhoods, and there would just be a bucket of shit just sitting
You wouldn't
outside.
know it. When you see a work van near your house, someone could be shitting in it right then and there. Give a little knock.
That's all I'm going to think about now.
I know that someone's taking a big dump.
If this van's a rockin', I'm taking a shit.
I'm taking a dump. Yeah. The commercial jobs are worse because it was just a bunch of animals.
Hole?
Yeah, you'd have to cut like where the people downstairs would look up and see a giant hole in their roof. Just a big hole in the roof. So then you really had to get the thing taken care of, because if it rained, you fucking water's going to pour in their building.
So what went over the roof hole?
It was something called a curb. It was what the giant units, they would bring cranes in and have to land the units on these things. But you'd have to put the base, the platform that these big air conditioning units sat on, and you'd put it on the roof, and then you had to tar it in. So you had to sit there with tar and tarred paper and shit and smear tar so it wouldn't leak when it rained. So and you believe me, one like a marble-sized bit of tar would spread over you like it was a gallon. That shit will be everywhere. It's murder.
So when you do the tarring, you guys get there obviously before the unit arrives.
Yeah.
How many days does it take to do that process?
That's probably a couple of days, but once you put a hole in the roof, you got to make sure it's weather tight before you leave.
So the base goes over.
The base goes over the hole. You screw it down to the roof, and then you start waterproofing with tar.
And the base has something in it that the unit can go on top of.
Yeah, it's just like a square base that the unit, then they bring a big crane and lift it up and.
So how come it wouldn't fall through the hole in the roof? Oh, it's straddling the hole.
Yeah, it's straddling the base that you put on. You put it like it's a base made just for that unit.
And when you're doing a commercial,
pop it on.
When you're doing a commercial job, there's nobody like a homeowner or something to say, "Can I get you a glass of water?"
No, that you got to fucking bring your own shit
and your own buckets to shit in.
Yeah. But then what a joy when the coffee truck shows up. So that's where you get your lunch and everything. The roach coach, they'd call it.
Oh, you're telling me you go down there, you get more roaches than coffee.
Get your cup of coffee. All the trades out there by the truck just talking to each other.
Right.
It was not my life. I hated it. I don't want to hear about the carpenter and his fucking kids and his new car and his wife giving him shit. Everybody there was regular Joe. They were real regular Joes.
Would you ever have a day where you were in this fucking hot attic or on this fucking cocksucker roof, and then go home and your wife was cunty?
Yes. Yes. All the time. That bitch.
You'd have tar on your pants.
Yes. That's what I needed. Her being fucking cunty to me. Covered in tar. What the fuck? Take out the garbage. Oh, sorry, dear. I was just being fucking assaulted in an attic.
You'd have to go home and do chores?
Chores.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a few chores to do. Clean out the cat box. I'm not the one that wanted 4 cats, you cunt.
Did you ever say that?
No. Yes, dear. Okay, where's the scooper? That was me. Yes, dear, where's the scooper?
You were a duty scooper?
I was duty scooper and garbage taker outer.
Spending the day in attics and on roofs, and then you go home and bend over and scoop kitty litter?
Cat shit out of a box.
What a horrible life you had.
It was an awful little fucking
Opie really
existence.
saved you from a life of fucking just terribleness.
Oh, I was doing like some shit for the morning show at one point. For the morning show at BAB. So I'd go in for like an hour before I even had to go to work. And then I would go to work and I'd be in an attic and shit. And it was awful. And I'd be yelling, getting cut and shit. And then I'd have the radio on and I'd hear like one of my bits is on the radio. And I'm like, how does this, like, it didn't seem possible to me. If I'm on the radio, I must be rich and famous.
But you didn't understand why show business. I'm in show business.
Why am I still doing this? And then I got the big call, the big call. I got called up to the big leagues of radio, and I was a good boy. I gave my 2 weeks notice.
Oh, you did.
Like a good worker.
But this whole life explains why now you're so unapologetic.
Yeah, I am.
About being stinking rich.
I could give a fuck if anybody has a problem with what I do with my cash.
A lot of people don't know you don't know that Anthony really, this is what it came from fucking nothing.
Oh, it was terrible. Terrible. I gave my 2 weeks notice. I was working at, what was that?
Apollo.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was, the last job I did for Apollo was at a hospital in Smithtown. It was St. John's or something like that. And, I gave my 2 weeks notice, and that lasted 3 days. 3 days in, I was doing something, and I went to screw something in, and I cut my hand. And I looked at it, I fucking grabbed my hand, I grabbed what I was screwing in, I threw it on the floor, and I went, "That's it! Take it easy, everybody!"
You left in the middle of the job?
In the middle of the job.
Oh.
I fucking walked. I said, "I'm done." What am I trying to be noble and give 2 weeks notice so they could find some other skilled, intelligent man to replace me? Stop. Go to any fucking bus stop. You'll find somebody that can replace me.
But that's the fantasy of every guy that has that job.
Take this job and shove it.
Yes. Is that the greatest feeling that there ever has been?
It was amazing. I threw that thing down. I walked off the job knowing that I was going to a radio job, full-time radio in Boston. Like, that was it. Done.
Oh, so you guys were going to Boston when you quit? Like, you weren't just, like, joining Opie in Long Island?
This was the big break.
We have our show in Boston signed.
We have it. We have a start date.
So
I gave my 2 weeks notice.
You were working, doing AC.
Even when I knew I had a radio gig.
The whole time you were with Opie on doing radio in Long Island.
Oh, yeah, I was working.
At BAB, you were also...
Oh, yes.
Wow.
I was working air conditioning.
So it wasn't like when you just started a little bit, like you hear a bit. Now, you were on the radio / installing air conditioning units.
I had to pay the bills, you know?
Wow.
I had to pay for that jet ski.
Yeah, I had a Sea-Doo to pay for.
I had a Sea-Doo personal watercraft to pay for.
How bummed were you when you got fired from radio with that first firing?
All I thought was, I'm going to be back in an attic, cutting fucking air conditioning duct, looking at my partner or something there, and going like, you know, I used to do radio. I was, you ever hear Opie and Anthony show, WAF? Yeah, that was me. Yeah, pass me the 8-inch flex duct and the duct tape, please. Oh yeah, it was fun. It was great.
You were dreading that?
I thought there's no other thing. I'm going to be going back to sheet metal.
How long were you guys laid off, like out of work for?
From April Fools.
Right.
April Fools.
Yes. I did a prank like that once.
No, you didn't.
I did. I said, the mayor left his hat in Arby's. April Fools.
Just get in trouble.
Yeah.
The mayor left his hat in Arby's.
What a scandal.
Yeah, a big scandal. So then we had a gig by when the fuck was it? I wasn't very long.
No,
it was only a couple of months.
Oh, a couple of months.
Yeah.
So you had some time where you were panicking.
Right away, I was panicking. Opie kept saying, he goes, "Don't worry, we'll fucking get another gig. It's not even an issue."
And you were like, "What the fuck did you do to us?"
Oh my God, we're so fucked.
Yeah.
We're so fucked. Oh my God, I got to buy new tools. I got to buy new sheet metal tools. I threw mine out on 95 driving up to Boston.
Did you?
Yes. Right out on the side of the fucking road. You might still be able to find them. I did. I just took them and went, flang, clang, clang, clang.
You're such a theatrical guy.
He really is.
It was very cathartic.
You have to quit in the middle of the job. You have to throw your tools out the window.
I did.
What do you think? I bet you fucking dummy thought that's how the fucking movie credits would roll.
Of course.
With the shot of the van driving the Scooby-Doo van while his tools fucking still
clang, clang. Yes. Roll credits.
Meanwhile, you got to back up down the highway and pick him up again.
Pick him up. Fuck. Got fired.
He was
how embarrassing.
Picturing the opening to his Fish Out of Water sitcom.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be a
God.
good sitcom, though. A radio guy now redoing. Where do you go with that sitcom?
Yeah, where does
Who
it go
cares?
from there?
After episode 1, he hangs himself. He hangs himself in the pilot.
I would have. Oh my God! I don't know what I would have done. Oh my God!
You'd be
And
a funny
considering the fact
air-conditioning guy.
I was still with the wife, so I wouldn't have. Yeah.
You'd have kids by now.
Ah.
Can you imagine if
would.
you had a baby by now?
And fucking working back at Apollo. So what happened there, Mr. Showbiz? And they would have all goofed on me.
All the time.
Hey.
They'd play your bits.
Oh,
When you walked
no.
in the room, they'd play
Remember
one of
that?
your bits.
Remember this?
Imagine if you knocked her up, and in that first month that you were off the radio, she made you quit to take care of the baby.
Oh
and get a
my
job.
God! Oh my God! Oh no! I couldn't.
And then Opie couldn't even look anymore with you because you were simply out of it.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Imagine if that fucking big horse dick had been pumping fucking anything but blanks.
I was fucking pulling that out. Oh, Jimmy.
That wasn't me.
Nice one. That wasn't me. It's a birthday one.
That was me pushing out the years.
A birthday toot.
The break
Speaking
is?
of, yeah, we'll take a break.
Adam Carolla's coming in first
Yep.
time on the show.
Yeah. So we'll take a break, and hopefully he'll be here, and we'll come back with Adam Carolla after the halls.
The Opie and Anthony Show on Sirius XM.
What?
Terrible sweating, and just it was an
And these were
awful job.
long days.
Yeah, it was an awful. Like, yeah, you have to. It'd be like, yeah, it's a 1 day in and out. You got to when you show up in the morning. When you leave, they better be able to turn on air conditioning and be done. So you couldn't just be like, I'll finish tomorrow. So you had to get it done. I couldn't dilly-dally like I do on some of those other jobs.
Were there any times where you just couldn't get it done?
Very rare, but yeah, there was something would go wrong, or yeah.
So what do? You have a bear house,
Yeah.
and you because I'm so unfucking mechanical. I feel like these things just magically happen. I feel like magic men do it. Literally, I couldn't be more impressed if you said I just clap my hands and then they hit a switch. It's amazing to me that you can do that. You and some guys hump this up. The first thing you got to do when you get there is go up in the attic and look and make sure you have a pathway to get this.
Right. You look
how
in
heavy
the
is the
attic.
thing?
It's the blower unit itself probably weighs about 80 pounds, I guess.
Okay.
And then the compressor unit's really heavy.
What's the
But
difference?
that's the one that goes outside. That's the little fan unit that goes outside on your side of your house. And then the other unit is the one that goes in your attic, and that's the one that blows all the cold air through big ductwork, and then it branches off into smaller ones, and into smaller ones, and then goes to each grill.
So the heaviest thing is the outside unit.
Yeah, but that's outside.
How
so
do you
it's not
connect
too
that
bad.
to the inside unit in the attic?
Yeah, that's a bitch. You got to fucking take copper tubing that you got to slide insulation on. There's 2 lines, one little one and one a bigger one. And then you got to tape it together, and then you got to snake it through a hole that you drilled, get it up through the wall. It's such a pain in the ass.
But how do you have 2 guys doing it?
Yeah, and then one guy's got to go, give it some push. All right, hold on.
I'm so glad I don't have the job that some of these fucking listeners have, these physically...
Like real job.
Yeah,
well, maybe
like-
you'd be tired then
Oh,
at
my
the end
God.
of the day.
Oh,
and go
yeah,
to
maybe.
sleep.
Fall asleep.
Yeah, nothing's nothing worse than those real jobs for getting your ass tired. I was thinking of that yesterday, air conditioning and heating working, because it's so hot. And these were the days where everybody would be like, call the air conditioning company. We need air conditioning. It's hot. Like no one in the middle of winter goes, hey, let's get some air conditioning. And then you're in an attic that isn't fucking blazing hot.
Oh, this is so nice.
Yeah. So it was always like just humping shit up into this hot insulation dust-filled attic.
You had some hot work days?
Oh, it was blazing hot.
I don't know how people do that.
It was a real job. And then everybody wants the grills that are on the ceiling. When you put in an air conditioning system, like after the house is built and it's been there for years, like you gotta put the air conditioning grills in the ceiling and stuff. And they always want them very close to the walls. You don't want one in the middle of your ceiling, you know. You want it kind of hidden against the wall,
By
over a
a
window,
corner.
in a corner, something like that. And it sounds all well and fine until you realize up in the attic where they want it is where the roof thing is. So there's like this angle of the roof, and you only have like 4 inches to work with, and there's roofing nails poking through, so it hits you in the head.
But it's cool up there, right?
And oh, yeah. It's a good 20 degrees cooler than the outside air.
Imagine getting poked with hot roofing needles.
That's what it was.
While you were
roofing
trying to
nails
work.
in the head, blazing hot, trying to saw a hole in the ceiling from the attic down into the ceiling.
Now wait a minute. Would you
so
ever
hard.
have? Oh, would the dust just go on the floor down there or no?
Yeah, you'd have to like put down drop cloths so the dust would be caught, and then you'd have a homeowner constantly bitching like, are you going to get that? Like, clean it up. No, I'm just going to leave it all over. At the end, you got to clean up and fucking vacuum.
Wait a minute. So you would install central air conditioning?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't
It was
do all that shit.
Yeah, it was central air conditioning. You'd go in and cut a big hole for the big 24 by 24 return, and then you'd have to hump all the equipment up through there. Like the giant blower units have to get into the attic.
You did it by yourself?
No, I'd have like at least 2 other people with me.
Was it ever awkward positioning and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
With the attic crowded with shit?
Plenty of times where, fucking ass in your face and you're just laying
there were good
down
times.
on your back in insulation. Hot and sweaty, it's sticking to you. And then you try to wear the mask so you don't have to breathe it in, but you're sweating so bad that you wind up being waterboarded with your own sweat because it's like fucking the mask gets soaked.
Did your bag and ass ever get fucking sopping?